If Donald Trump is charged by Special Prosecutor Jack Smith with attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election, the only legal defense that Donald Trump may have is that he genuinely believed his own claims of a super fraudulent election. That would be the only way, legally speaking, he could get out of this, because at that point, if he genuinely believed it, his actions, in the eyes of the law, I'm not saying in my eyes, but in the eyes of the law, would appear to be legitimate. Now this week, Trump ran into another problem with that defense, if of course that's what he's going to go with, if he's ever charged. Because it turns out Donald Trump, in the days after the 2020 election, hired a group called the Berkeley Research Group to gather teams of a couple dozen people and look at the election results in 6 different states. And we all know the 6 states. It's the ones that basically handed the election in 2020 to President Biden. You got your Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona, New Mexico, right? Or Nevada, excuse me. So, and I think Michigan was in there too, maybe Pennsylvania. But anyway, those are the areas that Donald Trump wanted investigated. So we had the Berkeley Research Group come out, they did their investigation, and then they went back to Trump at the end of 2020, just really a week or so before the January 6th insurrection, and they told him in unequivocal wording, all of those things that you've claimed, that the dead voters were out there, the voting machines, whatever it is, none of it is true. You sent us out there on a mission and we did our mission. The problem is the thing you wanted us to find simply doesn't exist. So Trump was informed prior to the insurrection, prior to the fake electors, prior to all of that, was told point blank, we looked, you paid us to look, we couldn't find it because it's not real. Now, there have been others, like Kellyanne Conway, that have come out and said, listen, I told Trump this was all bupkis. I told him he lost fair and square, and he didn't listen. So now that we have this evidence, which of course was obtained by the Washington Post, now that we know that Trump was told by the experts, by the very people he paid, that none of this stuff existed, that's a problem for him legally if he wants to use that "I swear to God I believed it" defense. And as I said, if he is charged in this, which he may not be, but if he is charged with fraud against the government, which is what the charges would likely be, he can't use that excuse of, oh, well, I genuinely thought that it was stolen. Because you were told by the professionals, you were presented with the evidence, and you paid to get that evidence in front of you. You knew your talking points were lies, but you pushed them anyway. You pushed these plans because you were so desperate to cling to that power that was no longer rightfully yours. This report could have just blown up Donald Trump's only possible legal defense. But it's all going to depend on whether or not the DOJ actually brings criminal charges against him and if he wants to go that route defensively. Again, there's not much else he can say other than he genuinely believed it. So I don't know how this ends. I just know that if charges are brought, it doesn't end well for Trump no matter what. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.